Blackpool Pleasure Beach. Home to many popular seaside attractions and has been home to many British holidaymakers since the mid-19th century, and now a much larger theme park including museums, games and rides. However, in 1930, a new type of attraction was developed, an extremely unique attraction the world had never seen before, the Ghost Train. If you don't know, the Ghost Train is your classic laugh-in-the-dark attraction, inspired by America's pretzel ride model, which incorporated dark rooms and a tight, winding track. However, Blackpool's Ghost Train took advantage of mirrors, lighting and spooky props to create a different kind of adrenaline kick. Instead of exciting your punter, you would scare them. This changed the horror attraction industry for good and is now one of the largest grossing factors for any amusement park or local attraction. Every good theme park needs their staple ghost train or scary attraction. Horror is a huge moneymaker, especially at Halloween. However, this is not where our story begins. We need to look at our influences many years before, even before we get to this point. So, strap yourselves in, we've got some history to unravel.
No toying around.
Thy lost soul belongs.
Let the fun begin.
Oh, bless thee.
Welcome to the Holcombe Steam Country Museum in Hampshire, England, home to many steam-powered inventions from their prime, including a classic steam-powered fairground. This is also the now permanent home to the Haunted Cottage, also known as the Orton and Spooner Ghost House. This is the first known haunted attraction ever built, which was commissioned by Patrick Collins in 1915 as a love letter for his wife, who was believed to be interested in all things paranormal. Us too, Flora, us too. Orton and Spooner were well-known fairground ride builders that were once coach manufacturers by trade, but when commissioned by Patrick, they were happy to help. The attraction itself was basic. No people in masks, no funky lights. Just steam-powered movement of floors and a few props in a small number of corridors. However, a popular technique that is used in all sorts of attractions today is the air cannon. The first draft of this effect was found in the Orton and Spooner Ghost House, obviously not as well done and as powerful as today would have been. And it was also used for a completely different reason back in the day. But isn't it meant to just scare you? What other reason could it be for, I hear you ask? Well, unfortunately views were different back then, and to entice punters into the ONS Ghost House, they were placed at the entrances to achieve the Marilyn Monroe effect. Cheeky ONS. But these were also later proved to give guests a cheap and cheerful fright, so were also used for giving guests a scare. This scary concept grew in popularity and evidently inspired Blackpool's Ghost Train 15 years later. 43 years since Blackpool debuted their Ghost Train, the horror industry grew, with ghost trains becoming more and more common as the months passed by, and iconic horror films surfacing such as 1973's The Exorcist, reinventing what horror can be for many. A large number of attractions at the time were inspired by scaring guests, as Halloween was beginning to become one of the most extremely profitable times of the year worldwide.
This must have influenced Knott's Berry Farm
To debut their Halloween event, Knott's Scary Farm, in the same year as The Exorcist and The Wicker Man were released in 1973. Back then, it was called Knott's Halloween Haunt, and was one of the first recorded attractions to advertise live actors as one of their main attractions. Evidently, there will have been some previous fairgrounds that will have had one or two blokes in masks to get a unique scare, but live action really started to kick off and help elevate a live, unique horror experience. Ghost Town was a 1973 live scare zone and has been adapted to modern day, now known as Ghost Town Streets in 2025, and is also advertised as the terrifying scare zone that started it all, and is the oldest running live scare zone recorded to date. Currently, it is difficult to find the origins of the first haunted house attraction to feature actors outside of Knott's Berry Farm, so please correct me if I'm wrong in the comments and if there are any main attractions I have missed. However, in 1988, a horror attraction made by Argentinian creatives called Passage del Terror was taken to Bilbao in Spain, where it first made its debut. Its unique special effects and use of live actors made it one of the best experiences in the world and was incomparable to the cheap dark corridor houses in the US. Due to Passage del Terror's popularity, the franchise expanded to over 30 worldwide installations and eventually, in 1998, landed in Blackpool as part of their Pleasure Beach. a full circle moment to see how far Silly Little Spooks had come in 68 years. In 1986, major film company Universal saw the popularity of Halloween events and horror experiences. With heightened budgets and experience in their field, Universal Hollywood had their first Halloween Horror Nights, which consisted of a story on a haunted backlot tram tour.
Need a lift?
This only lasted 1 year due to issues with employees volunteering to carry out this event. However, in 1991, a year after Universal Florida was built, inspiration was taken from live-action haunted house attractions and was adapted into Universal Studios Florida for their 3-night-long event, Fright Nights. Fright Nights was a much more successful event which returned the following year as Halloween Horror Nights, and has been an ever-growing annual event at that park ever since. From this point onwards, Halloween is a competition between theme parks to see who can deliver the better events and themed experiences and try to get to the Universal standard where the bar has been set high. Alton Towers Scarefest, Europa Park Strollmatica, Thorpe Park Fright Nights, just to name a popular few here in Europe, these attractions are now art forms and are beautifully designed to be intricate, heavily themed, and mainly scary. Some places are even dedicated to just haunts or scare mazes as they are sometimes known, such as Tully Shocktoberfest, which is Europe's largest scare event and my personal favourite, which also features Creepy Cottage, which is the UK's oldest live-action scare attraction.
Creepy Cottage. It's a cottage and it's pretty creepy.
The popularity is immense and ever-growing, and punters will pay good money just to be scared out of their wits.
Spooky.
It's the maintenance. Now it's not working. Hey, there's a spring missing.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where it is getting increasingly hard to scare consumers. Certain horror techniques are now deemed cliché in films and TV, and overexposure to blood and gore means that we leave our audience with nothing to be scared of. The punters have seen it all before. The vast majority doesn't care about an intricate story or a dynamic layout to an attraction. They just want something fresh and to get a kick from something that scares them. So how do we overcome this? The bottom line is, we can't. The legend himself, John Wardley, mentions in his book Life After Nemesis that blood and gore became a necessity. This does mean that if moneymakers wanted to, they could easily make an attraction nice and cheap. However, quality haunts and mazes will always be the standard I expect, should the designers be passionate about their work. This is evident at places such as Halloween Horror Nights, Tully Shocktoberfest and Alton Towers Scarefest, just to name a few. And no computer generated concept or haunted house layout can ever truly replace human passion. Sometimes you have to consider that not all guests will be scared, so you need something the braver members will get a kick out, such as jaw-dropping theming or an amazing story. However, the horror industry remains extremely popular to date and will continue to grow for many years to come. So, there's a whistle-stop tour of the amazing experiences that have been developed all because one man loved his wife dearly. The butterfly effect is such a weird thing, so if you're ever feeling scared, don't take it out on the actors. Blame it on the love and affection of Patrick and Flora Collins. As Huey Lewis once said, the power of love is a curious thing. Thank you so much for watching, and if you did enjoy, don't forget to subscribe to never miss any tips, tricks or fun in the theme park world. I've been Aidan, also known as the official theme park lover, and I hope you stick around for the next one. Goodbye.